and seeing all the fans keeping up with all of my injury updates throughout the year with rehab. And like, we miss you, Charlotte. We love you, Charlotte.
You guys don't get it. This is what I think about.
How is this still happening? What happened in the new era? Charlotte Flair winning the 2025 Royal Rumble is the most predictable, uninspired, boring choice I could think of. She's so overexposed that it is chemically impossible for most of the wrestling audience to really care. This was a chance to elevate somebody new. Instead, they decided to hit rewind. And rewind to where, you may ask? Well, this cultural rewind went right back to the 2010s formula. God help us all. A little rewind to the women's revolution period, where the supposed increase of prominence for women's wrestlers was really just as simple as they have heatless bangers like the guys do. And more specifically, there is a Charlotte Flair specific formula we've returned to. It goes a little something like this. Step 1. Charlotte Flair returns from some kind of knee injury or medical procedure. You build her up as an aspirational figure, inviting the audience to cheer her while changing absolutely nothing about her on-air character or presentation. The comically magnanimous statements that she makes, nor the delusional affirmations that are straight out of a millennial's 2013 Instagram. I'm talking living, laughing, and loving. And then she's immediately inserted into the world title scene. Every time Charlotte comes back, we gotta sweep aside all the other women's acts that are more over than she has ever been, all to make way for Ric Flair's daughter. I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out. The Nepo allegations really could be avoided if she wasn't just cosplaying as her dad. Seriously, the woos, the chops, the expensive robes, the trap version of her dad's theme. She's inviting it. And I don't care. It's fair to point it out. Doesn't make you toxic, bad faith, or an online troll. It's just the truth. And it's up to her and WWE's creative team to overcome that perception. And as much of a fan as I've been of Triple H's booking the last 2 years, if he's really just going to continue the Charlotte Flair train, then come on, man. And here's a red pill about the women's revolution. It was corporate cover. The girls had longer matches, and more spotlight was done on in-ring competence. But did you notice that during that time, 2015 to 2019, that WWE's product consistently emptied arenas? That is in part due to the women's revolution. Do you notice now that Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, and quite a few other women now are some of the most popular acts on the show? Well, that's because they just understood wrestling and the mechanisms of getting over. That's right, characters, story, audience investment. So with that in mind, you tell me, during this women's revolution, what were the stories for the women of that time? Like Becky Lynch or Charlotte Flair? Well, let's see. Becky Lynch cosplayed as Stone Cold Steve Austin, admittedly to some success. But one run that people don't talk about, that they probably should, is when she turned heel in 2021. That's right, post-women's revolution. Big Time Bex was more compelling than anything she ever did as the man. That act had run stale, so she adjusted and had her last great run as a heel. And then do you remember when she turned into the man again? Yeah, it was boring, wasn't it? It was boring as hell, because once again, that gimmick was a relic of the women's revolution, where the writing was really flat. It reflected a period of repetitive stories, non-existent characters, and badly scripted promos. I mean, just look at Mercedes Moné in AEW right now. I know there's been a lot of new fans that have kind of entered the chat the last couple of years, but yeah, if you find that cringe, that was WWE every week for a long period of time, especially in the women's division. Back to Becky Lynch, let me ask you something. Did you notice something in my comparison between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair? If you didn't, it's this. Becky Lynch had creative ups and creative downs, but throughout it all, she was fully aware of the need to keep it fresh, while Charlotte has remained completely unchanged since 2014. I am not kidding you. She has the exact same mannerisms, style of promo, you name it. Nothing has changed in 10 years. What is her gimmick? She wins titles. She's astroturfed countless women's championship reigns because her dad won 16 male ones? Nah, man. Culture's changed. Fans have standards now. We're in a world now where Rhea Ripley is popular even outside of the wrestling bubble. We're in a world now where Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio work in overtime to incite riots in each city that they're in. So it's time to level up. Past time, actually. And Charlotte winning the Rumble has unsurprisingly garnered the company a hell of a lot of backlash. Recently, it came to light that a video of Charlotte Flair's return and Royal Rumble victory garnered the company a pretty intense amount of dislikes. 82% on YouTube, as a matter of fact. Now, these stats are not the only metric that somebody should use to determine whether something's going to work or not. Case in point, Jey Uso's win drew similar amounts of backlash online, but by the time he came out on Raw the next night, he was so over that they were doing encores for his entrance. Plus, they set up a pretty compelling story with Gunther, and this whole story is clearly about Jey Uso overcoming the mid-card clown act, catchphrase merchant thing, and becoming more than just an entrance. Once again, character and story development. They're not pretending that Jey Uso's win wasn't shocking. They're getting out in front of it, and it's absolutely integral to the story that they're telling. I mean, did you see on Monday Night Raw how absolutely livid Gunther was that he even has to challenge Jey Uso to the point where he just beat the shit out of him? Beat the shit out of him and tried to call it a day? Maybe if I just beat his ass, he won't even make it to WrestleMania? Pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it is. It's too early to tell, but that one seems like a creative risk that might actually pay off. But with Charlotte, I mean, you heard it too, right? It wasn't just me. That place was giving her Dominic Mysterio heat. I was at home and I was booing. From my couch. Charlotte's case is an example of not passing the IRL mustard test. The dislike of her win is not exclusively an online phenomenon. And I think this is going to fail for the same reasons that Jey Uso's is going to succeed. Jey Uso's win is a step on a journey, but Charlotte's whole career has been nothing but the destination. But what about you, Kino crew? Wrong choice, wrong time, and how do they fix it? Whatever you think, however you feel, just make sure to keep it Kino. 'Cause life is cinema.